Welcome to Back to the Basics, the only show on the Elder Scrolls Online that teaches you how to do everything step for step and breaks it down as simply as possible. In this episode of Back to the Basics, I'm going to be talking about how to break down a healer role and to successfully make a healer build. For anyone new to a MOBA, a healer role is very easy to grasp. All you have to understand is that you want to heal your teammates. Now, of course, there's more things that play into it, like you want to specifically heal your tank when he's fighting a boss, but more than likely, anyone who doesn't really understand a lot about MOBAs can really get that I have to heal my teammates because they cannot heal themselves most of the time. So obviously in a dungeon or trial, the healer's only job is to heal their teammates and the tank. You do not have to put out any damage and you're not responsible for killing any of the AI. Though, there is quite a bit to learn when you're making a healer, because if you do not have a plan before you make your character, you will be kind of lost. Because unlike any other role in ESO, if you do not follow a few very important rules, then you will be in a very tough spot when trying to build a healer. For example, if you're watching this video and you have a Dragon Knight who has all of its attribute points into stamina, it's literally impossible to make that Dragon Knight a healer. So let's look over the reasons why that would be unacceptable and what makes a good healer build. So the first rule, which is somewhat debatable, but for a beginner standpoint we'll like to stick to, you must be either a Templar or a Warden character. While you can technically be other characters, most of the time when you're choosing your class, you are going to want to go with a Warden or a Templar, specifically because they are designed to be healer classes. Every other class doesn't necessarily have healing capabilities, and the Warden and the Templar have very specific healing abilities that only are accessible in their personal skill lines. And if you do not have these, there's not very many other healing abilities that a normal character will have access to. And maybe with a very elaborate build, you might be able to find one where you can just use a Rezo staff and figure it out on your own, but I'm assuming you're not to that point yet, so number one, stick with the Templar or a Warden. Now the second rule, which is very, very important in making a healer, is you want to put all of your attribute points into Magicka. Now the reason why you do this is because a stamina healer is literally impossible. All of the healing abilities in the history of ever have used Magicka. This meaning that if you don't put all of your attribute points into Magicka, then you will be wasting points. You do not need stamina for any reason at all unless you are trying to be like a damage hybrid in your back bar, which is a little bit advanced and I don't want to go there right now. So more than likely you are going to want to have all 64 of your attribute points into Magicka, because there's no reason to put it into stamina because you won't be using it in health because you can just heal yourself, and by the time you reach level 50 you should have a base Magicka of 20,000 without any armor bonuses and any buffs. And then rule number 3, which is a little bit more debatable, is you want to always have the correct equipment. This means that you have light armor and you always are using a restoration staff. The reason is that restoration staffs and light armor almost always have a bonus to Magicka recovery and add to your Magicka pool. This obviously means you can cast your spells quicker and you can cast them more often. Now, there is a few more bonus tips. First thing is kind of self-explanatory, but you just want to make sure that you know what your abilities do. A lot of abilities have multi-purpose uses and they're not just for healing your teammates. A lot of times they'll add a bonus to their weapon damage or give them extra health or give them longer durations to certain skills. And it's very important you know that you don't want to just waste your Magicka. You want to make sure that you're timing everything correctly and that you are making sure your buffs are being added constantly, but you're not buffing them too often because the effects haven't worn off yet. Obviously that's up to you. I'm not getting super in depth because we're not talking about specific skills or anything, but you can go through and look and figure that all on your own. Now another thing to keep in mind is that when you're choosing your race for your character, Breton, Dark Elf, Argonians, and High Elves all get bonuses to Magicka. And this is great because obviously you're running a Magicka build, so that is a plus to you. And now finally, like I said, when you can use either the Warden or the Templar, a lot of people believe that the Templar was nerfed very, very hard when the Warden came out, and that the Warden is way easier to use now that the Templar has been nerfed. So if you have the Morrowind DLC, give the Warden a try because it is supposed to be as easy as it gets to use. Now, of course, that's just an opinion, but I believe it. I think the Warden is easier to use than the Templar. But like I said, make sure you're using the Warden and the Templar. Make sure you're putting all 64 of your attribute points into Magicka, and then make sure you're using Rezo Staff and the correct equipment. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I put so much effort in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you did. I hope this video does really well. I put a lot of heart and soul into this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Pumpplay signing off.